You're about to learn a simple, aggressive, and offbeat opening weapon against one d4. A few days ago, I had some lessons with Grandmaster Avetik Gregorian of Chessmood, and in our first lesson, he taught me all about how to play against one e4. In this video, you'll hopefully have a more complete picture of how to crush your opponents with the black pieces. Now, the major lines in this video are timestamped below, and I've also linked below a lichess study where you can analyze all the opening variations on your own. Additionally, if you want more resources to learn this repertoire, you can visit chessmood.com/Rosen to get free access to all of their courses through the end of June. And even if you're watching in the future after June has passed, you can still use my link to get a special offer. Now let's get to lesson. Really hope you enjoy it, and I hope it brings you a lot of success with the black pieces.
All right, Eric. So last time we had E4 and we played French. Do you remember French? What? What's the next word after French?
French attack. I'm still getting used to it, but yes, French attack.
Yes, French attack. And today we are playing Dutch
Attack.
attack.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Dutch
Changing the
attack. No
stereotypes.
difference. Yes. So D4. The good thing with Dutch, by the way, not like the standard Dutch starts with F5.
Mhm.
Yeah. The F5 has one good thing and one bad thing. The good thing with F5 is that it is very practical in a way that the D4 players don't face F5 often. More common they face knight F6 or D5, and they are playing their openings. Yeah, F5 is usually for them. It's like they face this move rarely. While if you play F5, you play Dutch, so you have often thousands of games while the opponent faces this second or third time. So here you have practical advantage.
I can relate to that. Yeah, I've struggled with the Dutch as white for many years as a d4 player.
Yeah, because one of the things is that when you play just your normal moves, that you are playing against Queen's Gambit, or you are playing London, yeah. If you do the exactly same against F5, it doesn't work. So this is very practical. F5. Now the bad thing, the bad thing of F5 is that this is very dangerous move. You play F5, you weaken the king, right? In the first move, you weaken this diagonal, you weaken here. And now there are lots of very dangerous gambits, especially the E4. This is very dangerous gambit.
Yeah, the Staunton Gambit. There's also
Downton
like
gambit.
g4 and some
Yes,
bishop
yes. So
g5
E4 is one dangerous
lines.
gambit, and then there are lots of traps and lots of things that even if black knows exactly, there is no refutation. You just get some position, and white always have very dangerous initiative. So this is very like unrefutable gambit. It's fine. It's fine gambit. Very dangerous thing. Yeah. The same is with G4. It's possible this move as well. Plus there are many other moves, including knight C3, and white tries to play E4. There is even this very unpleasant move. They don't allow you to play knight F6 because they'll take and ruin the pawn structure. And if you decide to trap this bishop, it doesn't work.
I remember learning this as a kid. Yeah, white can play pawn e3, right? And just
Pawn E3, exactly.
say, oh no, my bishop, and then get mated.
Yes. Yeah. So the bad thing and good thing we know about F5, right? So it's 1-1, the score with the bad and good things. But now we win it. We win with two good news. Because we are French players, we can allow ourselves to start with E6 and then F5. If you are not a French player, this is very risky because opponent might play E4 and you got into French, and
right?
you are not prepared. But as we are playing French, we are completely fine with E4. Great, then we play E6. And now after C4, the standard, the main move, we will come back also to bishop B4 and see what we do against London players. After C4, when we play F5, now when we have this pawn here, and white played the move in the queen side, not related to the king side, with the pawn here, now no gambit works for white. Every gambit is bad now, and every gambit is refutable in this case, which we will cover soon. So there is big difference that if you want to play Dutch, right? You play F5 and you need to learn lots of other variations which are dangerous. But if you are playing French, everything is good. Just you start with E6.
Okay. All right. That really simplifies the repertoire, it seems like.
Yeah.
So,
So it's like kind of as we'll see against other moves as well. We'll play e6, so we'll play like very easy repertoire.
mhm.
So e6 and if e4 we just go to French attack. So let's go with c4 and we'll try to understand the ideas, and then we go to Dutch. So now we do f5. We'll cover the every gambit like e4, g4, and all such things in a moment. But let's see what's the setup we are going for. So the main way here White is playing is especially below 2000 level. So we will focus on below 2000 level.
Okay.
So they just develop the knights, knight c3, knight f3, and then develop this bishop. Why they do this? Because this is what they used to play. If you are playing d5, they are playing exactly this. Like usually they put this knight here, they put this knight here, and then they develop the bishop somewhere here or here, usually to g5 and so on. And when you play this, say like, okay, I will do the same thing.
Hmm.
But there is a difference, and it's not that good for White if they just continue that way. So okay, we start with e6, um, c4, f5, knight c3. Yeah, we develop the knight, and now what we are going to do? We need to understand how we finish the development, and because here we have these three pawns here, this bishop we are going to find chat.
Makes a ton of
Okay.
sense. Yeah, yeah. We don't want our bishop staying on this diagonal.
Yes. So after b6, now let's say White plays this move. Yeah. Then what we are going to do with these pieces, with the knight and the bishop. So now what's happening is that if we put this knight here, it's not good. We close the bishop and bishop will be like, come on, what are you doing? Like, I am doing their great job. So, like, stop that. I'm calling this TV concept. It's like when the grandparent is watching a TV with remote control and the kid comes and stays in front of the TV,
Hmm.
and the grandparent says like, go out, I'm watching a TV. Yeah. So in this case, the bishop is watching a TV, and once like White's castle's bishop wants to be the hero of the game, and there is this knight in front of. At the same time, the knight says, I'm fighting for the center, shut up. So they are fighting together. This is not that good. And so the knight is will be good fine here, keeping this bishop open, right? But now you play d6, this bishop will complain and will be like, guys, what are you doing? Why you are closing me? So what we are going to do is we are going to get this bishop here, trade the bishop, especially if you can ruin the pawn structure, and then d6. All right. But now we go back to this. Like once we have before playing b6, it's possible to play b6, bishop b7, but actually it's even better right away to get rid of this
Hmm.
immediately
And that prevents White from playing e4 to maybe
at the
change
same
the
time.
structure.
At the same time. All right.
Hmm.
Exactly. Bishop b4. And now, a very common way under 2000 level is what's this? Let's play a3, and they don't care about ruining their pawn structure. Yeah. And now what we have, White has this bad pawn structure, double pawns, but also as they have now already two islands, while Black has just one island. All the pawns are together. Now White has two islands, this island and this island, which means in the future, in the end games, this White is going to pay.
Hmm.
They're going to answer, yeah? So quickly, I will show you the setup we are going. This bishop goes here. I will just make some moves for White. Let's say this. And already Black is better.
Yeah, it looks super solid, especially like this control over e4 seems like it's going to be a common theme in the Dutch.
Yes. And from here, Black has usually two plans. One, you can just castle and play positional in the future against these pawns,
Hmm.
but the favorite way is attack the king using the bishop. And how you can attack, there are two ways. Castle is fine. I personally love not to show the cards, but here it's White to move. So I'll just again put some random move for White just to show the plans, yeah? I'll have to put this queen here, and maybe I will castle long
Mm,
and then g5, g4, and push, and attack the king.
looks fun.
The knight usually stays on e4 with tempo, usually attacking the pawn, and then you just push it g5 and you go there.
I like it. This is
So,
reminiscent of a Nimzo Indian, which I have more experience
yes,
playing many years ago.
yes,
And yeah, in the Nimzo you get this, but I guess in the Dutch you've already committed to f5, so you get like I
yeah,
guess sooner control over e4.
yep. Here the alternative way to attack is when you castle short. This is fine as well.
Hmm.
Again, I will put some quick, just random moves for white, just to illustrate the idea. Now, there is this interesting thing. It seems that the rook should go here and support the bishop. Seems natural, but when you put this here, then it's not very clear. Okay, what's next?
Hmm.
So the key here is to put the rook here.
Okay.
You start pressuring here, and the plan is just to attack this,
Get rid of this knight.
and bam, it's
Mm.
undefeatable. It's
Wow.
done. It's made. So this is important to remember. Usually, rook doesn't go to g6 to support the bishop, but here.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, so this is our standard plan to go and mate, and actually below 2000, lots of games are finishing like this. It's not only us, our students also, when they are playing and we see their games, big number of games. And there are lots of beautiful mating patterns around this. You can imagine when you move the knight, you sacrifice the queen with knight. There are lots of beautiful ones.
Yeah, there's an idea that came to mind. Like when we got to this position, it's very reminiscent of a Nimzo Indian. And there's a mating pattern, I guess, without the bishop on f1. Like let's say white does some stuff. Actually going back, like let's say queen c2 here, here, and there's a move queen h4 here. And then if white plays g3, then there's knight g5, which is a fun idea. So
yes,
I had this recently in an online game, and this is a nice sort of structure to get these queen sacrifices.
Yes. So here, this bishop is like the hero of the game,
right?
In this point.
Yeah, which is nice because like again, this sort of French bishop, especially with the pawn on the light squares, it can still be a good bishop as long as it's outside the pawn chain.
Okay, so this is our plan, and this we saw if white just plays just a3, just random move, how we are going to set up our pieces. Yeah.
Okay.
If they play here e3, and any move that they allow us to get rid of our bishop at the same time ruining their pawn structure, we do. We don't wait for a special invitation. Yeah. If the opponent didn't realize that anyway we are going to trade, and now we can trade and ruin the pawn structure, we do it ourselves without waiting for special thing. We just take it, and you know the plan. Even
bishop
if
b7, d6, knight d7.
Yes, knight d7. And we go there. Yeah.
Okay. So a3 is just a total waste of time then. Like white.
Yes.
White is just provoking us to do what we want to do.
Yep. a3 is waste. Common move is just developing the bishop somewhere here. Yeah. And now what we do again, we just ruin whenever this is easy rule. Yeah. If any move like this, whatever, we just ruin the pawn structure if we can. We ruin. Now again, you can just go there and the same way. But here my favorite way is just say like decide what you do. Because if now they go back,
now we trap the bishop.
Now we trap it. There is no tricks here with this. Yeah. And what to do then? And if they take it, now if you evaluate the position, white gave up their bishop here, the only thing they had. The pawn structure is very bad for them. The game usually will continue something like this. And here only black can fight for the advantage. With all the rules, white has here double pawns, island, and again, you can plan here an attack, but you can also play positionally around these pawns.
When you say play positionally, does that involve like bringing the knight to a5 and like targeting c4?
Yeah. So there are two ideas. One is, again, I will just put random moves for white to illustrate the idea. One is, as you said, knight goes here. This queen, let's say it's here, so it doesn't hang. The rook stays here, and the pawn is here, and the bishop is here. This is the setup. So I just quickly put it. So with photographic memory, you can capture this plus the followers. So this pawn is becoming a problem.
This is very reminiscent to a Grand Prix Sicilian, which I know is part of the chess move repertoire for white, but I love playing this against the structure in the Grand Prix.
Yes.
Reverse colors.
Yep. And one more thing is, at some point, let's say this is the position. Yeah, white closes the center, and this happens. So now it's that, because here black has space advantage, and we can easily push everything to the opponent. And for white, on the queen side, it's dead for them. Usually this pawn is here, and they try to push from b4. But now they are dead there. They should just put their hands like this and wait, look at the clock until we bring all our pieces and mate them.
It is pretty depressing for white. Yeah, there's really no active plans for white here.
Yeah. The bishop can go back already from here and play in the future there. The rooks can join. So it's like very fun.
Nice.
Right. So actually here, if they allow us to take, it's very good for us.
Hmm.
So we take and play b6, yeah? Now, the smart way here for white is to prevent ruining their own pawn structure.
Which I see bishop d2 is the second most common move on chess. So
Yeah,
most players play bishop g5, but
bishop g5, yes, exactly. They're just set up as they are playing with queen's gambit.
right.
Yeah, bishop d2. And now what we do, we can castle, but again, like in this Dutch, I always love to keep this here and not show, because often it will go too long and sometimes even stay in the center.
Hmm.
There is just one move to castle. So when there is just one move to castle, it's not really necessary.
Okay.
If suddenly something happens, the center is open, in one move we can take the king into safety, which means we are already actually safe. Yeah. So this is my way to go, just b6, b6, bishop b7, and we can give up this bishop here and go with this setup. Again, we go with the same way. Knight stays on e4.
Hmm.
They can keep this bishop or rook c1, one of them, yeah. And again, we can castle. Rook goes to h6, g5, g4,
Looks
and queen
fun.
h4.
Hmm.
Or alternative, queen stays on e7 and you push these pawns.
Hmm.
And you can even just keep this king here, just push there. This king can stay on f7 even.
Wow.
Or you can castle long, depends. Or yeah, just the simple one is just rook comes here, then g5, g4. Very solid position. Yeah, white has bishop here, but the position is quite closed. It's not easy to use. We have great bishop, great central square for the knights. Yeah, so we just go forward.
I like it. Yeah, it seems like black is getting this setup in a lot of these lines, like kind of regardless of how white plays in the early middle game.
Yeah. Especially this is very easy for amateurs because you don't need to really memorize all the things. Once you
Hmm.
play a few games, you played your 20 games, 50 games, yeah, you are familiar with the ideas, familiar with what's happening, your plans. So it's very easy continuation, very simple, direct plans. Um, so yeah, I think this is very practical.
Love it.
So yeah, bishop before we do, and there are some other moves, but this is the basically the plus. This is what we are doing when white is playing d4, c4, and developing the knights.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
Now, what's happening against the second common? Sometimes under certain level might be even the most common. London. London. That's so
Most
many
common for
players
me is as a white side for sure.
as white said.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, there is. I don't know many players who are saying it's okay, London. People either love London or hate London.
It's a very
Uh,
divisive opening. Yeah.
yeah. So now what we are playing against London, yeah, we are continuing with our style with f5.
Mhm.
Okay. So e3. If at some point white plays c4, if there is a chance, we get rid of this bishop.
Okay.
We check. And if they do this, what do we do?
We just take and
Yes,
damage the
like general
structure.
rule. We can
Hmm.
ruin, we ruin. Yeah. And if they continue this, now this check doesn't give us too much because they'll just play with the pawn and we need to return back.
Right.
So we keep this here and we develop the bishop here.
Okay.
Now how the London players usually go, yeah, this pawn usually stay here, bishop here, castle, right? Um, and now, okay, it would be really good if we could trade the bishop with the knight.
Hmm.
But if we cannot, okay, we just play d6, and when the bishop starts crying, we are like, "Come on, baby, no worries, no worries." Once we checkmate, we will give the trophy to you. Yeah? So the bishop kind of sacrifices itself, but there is one advantage: is that this bishop on f4, limited here, it's going to be under attack.
Hmm. I'm already imagining how like the bishop on e7 could support some g5 push.
Yeah. You can put the bishop on e7 exactly, and the knight e4 and support. Yeah,
Hmm.
but the thing is, let's say white is just going with their standard setup, right? When you play knight e4, you already these two pieces supports you g5,
Oh, that's true.
and it can checkmate like very quickly. You do g5, you play h5,
G4 is
You're playing
basically
G4.
unstoppable. Yeah, wow.
Yeah. If they allow you this, this opens also.
Hmm.
And if they take and they move the knight here, here,
Get the queen
and game
in.
over.
Yeah,
Game over.
strong attack without the dark square
Yeah.
bishop.
Yeah. So this app just to illustrate the plan.
Hmm.
Um, let's say white is not playing c3, yeah, so they are playing something else. Let's say c4 or 92. Let's say, yeah, logical move. You still can play queen on e7. We can play knight e4, which is fine. This trade is fine, but you can also start the attack with h6, h6 g5.
Hmm.
H6, G5, G4. I would recommend to keep the king here, not commit anywhere, castle long in the future. But if white just go a5, a4, a5 before and push this everything, you might just keep the king on f7, which is also fine. And you might also just mate with the king here, because usually the rook, these pawns that you push, this long bishop, the knight and the queen, these all are usually enough to mate. You
Hmm.
don't need in these variations this rook really. So these two pieces, often even this night, you can just, okay, just take rest, go
Interesting.
vacation, enjoy the beach, have coconut water, have fun. We will do the
Just
rest.
watching from the sidelines. Yeah, I'm realizing that like it does make sense to keep the king in the center because white doesn't have any easy center breaks. Like e4 and d5 never really work because black has such good control over these squares.
Yep, yep, yep. So yeah, now in this case, like in the London players, they don't want to have the bishop on c1, right? Because it's limited. That's why they developed early here. But in
Hmm.
this case, is it good to have the bishop here or not? It's not clear because it just gets under attacks and just you go quick. And if I don't know exactly what to do here, there are some correct ways to play for white, but which is if you don't know, you never find. It's just checkmate, straight checkmate.
Hmm.
G5, G4, mate.
Yeah, I'm realizing there's also some like kind of recurring themes from the French where these pieces are fuel for the fire. Like
Yeah,
we
yeah,
expand pawn storm with tempo,
yeah,
so it's always very
yeah,
nice.
yeah. Uh, by the way, the inspiration of this French and the Dutch, how connected they are, how easy they are, I got from our investor,
Oh.
who is a big chess lover. And when we started years ago, 4 years ago, he would play French and Dutch.
Hmm.
So French was my love for all my life. Dutch I always loved as well. So what he was playing, I strengthened it a little bit here and there. And he started to have such results. And his rating is about 2200, 2300 on Licha. So he's quite strong and mature, yeah.
Okay.
And when I click and we check the statistics, what's happening, the results, the what's happening after the opening, yeah, he like with black he has advantage on with both French and Dutch, and especially when he plays with someone below 2000, he knows what to do and just mates everyone. So I got
Hmm.
this inspiration from there, how easy everything is actually, how connected these openings are together. The plans are simple. There is lots of fun. I played a little bit more and then no. This is what we are going to play in chess mode for black. It's very easy to remember, fun, aggressive, and I'm sure you will just enjoy this too.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like it's really not common. Like there's so few opponents I've run into that plays such a repertoire, like as a London player myself. So I feel like especially at the lower level, like players will probably not be ready for the setup from the white side. So
Yep. Yep.
yeah, this looks super fun.
Yes, yes, yes. So this is basically what you are doing against the London, the bishop f4.
Okay, yeah, easy enough. I
Yeah.
I do have one maybe challenging question for you because when I play the London and I encounter this exact move order. I have a very tricky line I learned a few years ago that kind
With
of solved
e4,
my
yeah?
problems. Not e4, but g4.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. Once you played against maybe with Gabu you
that's
played.
possible. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. One thing with this G4 is uh the easy way to play. You can often for black just ignore it.
Hmm.
You
And just
just
allow the
ignore it.
trade. Sure.
Yeah. And then the plan is you put the queen here,
Hmm.
the bishop goes here.
So more of a kind of Leningrad style where,
Yep,
okay,
yep. And now white will never castle here. It's too weakened.
that's
Yeah.
true.
And if they go here for the long side, the bishop is often here looking at them.
Okay.
Without this g pawn, not easy to push. With just h pawn, when your pawn is here, it's stopped.
Hmm.
So you can play this one as well. But well, g4 is something like here. You will never get
It's
below
so
this line.
incredibly rare.
Almost.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
played less than 1% of the time on
Yes,
lichess. So
yes.
yeah,
Which is very practical for white to
of
have
course.
some sidelines like this, because the same way as when we are playing Dutch and white players usually are not familiar with that. The same way here. If you play here g4, which you played many times already, for black will be like what? So now white get this practical advantage. So anytime there is solid sideline, I think it's very practical to go to these solid sidelines.
That makes sense.
That's fine. Continuing the bishop f4, one more thing, yeah, the Jobava London so-called,
I
yeah,
wanted to ask about that. Yeah, because this is another very common opening among
yeah, it's
amateurs
like
these
here many
days.
start with knight c3 and
Yeah,
they do bishop f4, yeah.
exactly.
Uh, all right, so what if they do here knight c3? This is an interesting moment.
So I'm thinking like, can we transpose into a French? But if we play d5, then they don't have to play e4. So
Yes. So first, let's explain our followers that after f5, this will not be good because they will play already e4.
mhm.
This is not that good, yeah. By the way, notice that when we're playing guys c4, f5 here, we are always controlling the square. Additionally, the bishop comes, this comes, we never allow e4.
Can I ask, if white is very persistent and plays pawn f3, is there an easy approach?
Yes, good question. f3 trying to play e4, yeah? So the f3, the problem of the f3, there are two downsides immediately, which is weakening this diagonal, the obvious one, plus the knight is not happy, yeah? So anytime there is such moves like f3, the first thing we need to think about is to open this diagonal with such moves.
Okay.
Right now, if you do this c5, there will be d5.
Right.
And we didn't do that. We didn't achieve, yeah? But the best move here is d5. And whatever it's happening, next move is c5.
I see. Okay. And white's going to
And
probably regret having committed to f3.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, going back here, exactly. So f5, there will be e4. We cannot do... If you play d5 with hop after e4 to transpose to our French, maybe white is just London player and they play bishop f4, e3, and they play as they are prepared, yeah? So what to do? I remember when I was preparing this old black repertoire for our chess mode, I was like, oh, knight c3, there is what to do. Like, oh, wait, there is solution. So we play knight f6.
I was thinking about this. Yeah, it's kind of tricky move order because now if e4, you go back into the French.
Yes, if you put d5 and we have French, which you are ready, then what? Bishop f4 usually, the standard move.
Right.
London, yeah. And now what we play is we play bishop b4. We stop b4.
And we haven't committed to d5, so maybe we have knight d5
Yeah.
ideas?
We have knight d5 ideas as well. And usually, let's say a3, yeah, just to illustrate the idea, we are going to have something very similar. So you are playing like Nimzo with the pawn f7. And if all goes good, at some point, you are still going to play not d5 and close the bishop.
Knight e4.
But
We
and at some point
transpose.
f5.
Okay,
You
interesting.
can do here or d6 and then f5, something like this. So yeah, knight f6, bishop f4, bishop b4. Additionally, right now we might do this. If white doesn't behave well, they do some bad moves, yeah, they might be under very dangerous c5, queen a5, knight e4, knight d5. And there might be some issues with this long diagonal as well.
Yeah, I see most players online play pawn e3, just kind of defaulting to the traditional Jobava setup.
Which you can take already. You can play even knight d5. So everything is already great for black.
Yeah, this seems like already a nice solution with the move order, and black shouldn't be having more fun here. Okay.
Yeah. All right, that's it. And now let's go to Gambits. Quickly cover this thing. We start with this e4, which is like delayed standard with c4, and then as we briefly touched, including c4 and d6 is clearly for black's favor. What we do, we just take it. No problem with this check. We just cover with g6 and they go back. There is nothing dangerous happening here. We have this and then all is good.
It's always a defense. Yeah. I'm wondering if white can like keep throwing punches, but I guess we have bishop e7 or
Seven and then
g7. Okay.
yeah, no
And
more
then
things. This
yeah,
is too far. They are
knight
too
c6
far.
coming. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So how they should continue is knight c3, attack here,
Mm-hmm.
and try to pressure. So usually it goes like this, bishop g5. There are two moves, bishop g5 or f3. Trying to give you this up and then quickly develop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so two moves. We are going to play like very similar stuff in both cases. Let's take with f3, so it will be obvious. What we do here, we don't take it, but we play d5.
Oh, okay.
What's the idea? It seems very ugly pawns, and it's true,
Mm-hmm.
but there are two things. One is, first of all, this is extra,
That's true. Always nice being up a pawn.
and this is very strong pawn because it doesn't allow easy development for white pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And the next good news, it's not easy to take this pawn back. If something like this, first there is d4 is hanging, third we have additional support from here.
Mm-hmm.
And there is one more thing which is not very obvious initially, is that this pawn is weak, true, but this pawn is also weak.
That's true. Yeah, it's nice having the now half open d file.
Yeah, so you can play knight c6 at some point. Imagine you also play e5, just trade these pawns, you'll have just extra pawn here.
That's true.
And here, so white has problems with these pieces, with their king. And by the way, when you play bishop b4 at castle, it's actually white's king is going to be in trouble. So now, not only they gambit it, they sacrifice the pawn, but actually they put their king in more danger than us.
I like it. Yeah, that's kind of ironic, but it's always nice to develop the king side more quickly than the opponent.
Yeah, yeah. Similar story happening here with bishop g5. We just go there, they pinned, we pinned, and this way we defend. And if f3 again, we do d5.
Mm-hmm.
And we go here. Same story. And then knight c6 short castle. This pawn is not easy to take, and it's limiting these pieces. The king will be in trouble, so it just pawn up.
Sweet.
So this is just refutation. It just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is this gambit. And the g4 one.
I'm just checking the stats real quick. So g4. So probably about like 3% of the time players will encounter e4 or g4.
Yes,
so they're rare,
yes.
but okay, against
Very rare,
crazy
yeah.
individuals
Yeah.
might happen.
This is just, for sleeping in peace.
Of course, yeah. It's
Not to
peace of
remember,
mind.
just sleeping in peace that
Sure.
this doesn't work. That's it. Yeah, so I'll just very quickly show this as
Let's see
well.
it.
H3, and they try to in the future mate us with this. So what you do, you just give it back.
G3, I like it. Yeah, this is a common idea.
And look at this, like, what did you do? Why did you have this pawn here, weakening here?
Mm-hmm.
And then what you do is c5. Immediately, the f2 pawn is gone. You immediately open this diagonal. So knights are coming, and only black can fight for the advantage.
Nice. It's strange looking position with the structure, but yeah, it looks way more fluid for black to develop and exploit white's
this
king.
pawn is here is problematic. They should be here. Additionally, when you play queen c7, or this, it's will be like, what the heck? I have this pawn h3 and g3. Why did I do that?
That's true. Yeah, g3 is so easy to attack. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
All right. So and the last things it seems to me. What if white plays here g3? This is something that you will not face much under 2000 level. Under 2000 level, it's usually either London or developing these knights, and both we have covered.
Mm-hmm.
So
among stronger players, the g3 setups are a bit more common.
Yes, especially like 23 plus. The most common, if you filter the Lichess database, you will see g3 is coming immediately. Yeah. And it makes sense, the g3 move. The thing is that once we have this here, where we are going to develop the bishop here.
Right.
And white says, you know what? No, you don't develop there. And in all those variations we have seen, black is checkmating here. So What if white just have here very safe king, and this bishop will cry from the sadness? So this is the idea: g3, bishop g2, and makes sense. Now if b6, bishop g2, we are not in time to have the bishop here. So now what we do? So in this case, we are switching to Stonewall. What is the Stonewall? We play here d5. At first glance, this looks very ugly. We give this get this backward pawn. We put the pawns on the light square. This bishop was crying. Now it is crying even more. We are weakening the central square, and the knight is coming here. This looks like, what the heck? d5. Now what's the idea? Put also pawn here. This is why it's called Stonewall. You have the bishop here. I will just put random moves for white. And let's talk about this position. And this pawn is backward, true, but because white has this e2 pawn, it's really not easy to pressure at some point this pawn. This bishop we made like really bad, true. But at the same time, when we put these pawns here, it's not that this bishop is screaming from happiness. We also limited not only our bishop, but the opponent's bishop as well.
That's true. Yeah, this bishop doesn't have the same luxury of the like long diagonal to pressure the center compared to other openings.
We gave this square, it's true, but also with these pawns here, we got good control over this square. And for white in the future, it will be very difficult to put d4.
Okay.
Now also when this pawn is not here, but here, it's true, it's weakening here. However, with the f5 pawn, we have some space advantage on the king side. And in the future, we might push this pawn, or if we push this here, we might start attack here in the future. Now we're going to develop these pieces. There are different ways. The simple one, which is like very easy to remember and play, I'll again put some random move for white just to illustrate the plan. So the bishop goes here.
It's a d7, e8, h5. Okay.
Yes. h5. Knight stays on d7. Queen stays on e7. Knight stays on e4. And then it goes. It can be f4, it can be h6, g5. At some point, the rook can come. Also notice that with these two pieces, we completely control this square.
Got it.
And just everything now is already fine.
Yeah, it looks very harmonious for black.
Yeah.
Of course, it takes time to get to this setup, but it's good to have an end goal in mind.
Yep. So there are different ways here for white to play. Two things I'll quickly say. One is bishop f4, immediately trying to trade this bishop, which makes sense because we have here pawns on the light square. This is the hero of the game. It's like very important bishop, and white wants to trade. So if they does this, they are paying a price, and we are making them to pay. We don't allow them to trade. We take it. So at least we ruin this king. And then what we do? We are going to have knight here. The rook comes here. At some point, the queen can come here, like in Grand Prix. We might bring this knight also. All the time, like white should be careful with g5, and we are going to attack the king.
Interesting. Yeah. There's a lot of attacking potential. I wasn't seeing it at first because very often white can just slide over, but not an e4 targeting f2. And
true. Plus this rook here, the knight moves, queen h4 and queen h2 will be made.
That's true. Yeah.
There are lots of deep things. So, but as we are focusing now below 2000, this already people will face rare and YouTube below 2000. So two quick things I wanted to show you: bishop f4, and if b3, you can castle, but you better do this move. You know why?
Try to find the move here.
Why do we play queen e7?
Queen e7. To prevent bishop a3.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. b3, they not only want to play bishop b2.
I see.
But bishop a3. So you stop that, and then you can go with your normal setup. Bring the bishop here and knight here.
Can I ask if white plays? So let's say white is very persistent in getting in bishop a3. You play queen e7. They play a4.
Yeah.
Now it looks like this is unstoppable.
Good question. This is one of the main moves, and now we cannot really stop the bishop a3. But with a4, they just pay the price.
Yeah, at least say we can like b4 long term maybe.
Yes, they weaken the b4, and we immediately have it this year.
Okay, knight a6, knight to
And
b4.
yes, we can take it on a3 and take the knight to the corner of the board. Knight stays here. Not necessarily we need to do this and trade, just keep it here.
Hmm.
And then still short castle, the bishop goes to h5, the knight to e4. The thing for white is that, okay, what side of the board they are going to play? e4 is really not easy.
It's true.
On the king side, they cannot really play. We are stronger. So usually in these pawn structures, white is pushing on the queen side. But because they just made that, it's very difficult also to play b4.
That's very true. Yeah.
Yeah. And in these variations, what you can do here, again, I will just put random moves. You can castle, but you might even start right away.
Hmm. Yeah, it seems flexible where black can like hold off
Yeah.
from castling and go for these attacks. Again, reminiscent of the other Dutch lines and the French lines as well. I like
Yeah.
it.
Once you start practicing this and you get more into all this that we have covered now, and especially if you play Title Tuesday and you play against stronger opponents, you will face this Stonewall more and more and more.
Hmm.
I will not reveal the exact variation I'm going to teach you. I will
Oh,
keep you
okay.
stay excited and interested. But once you feel a little bit these positions, I'm going to show you some sideline for black so that we are not going into all those theories.
Hmm.
Because here, when you come here, your opponent's masters, grandmasters, they will know what they are doing. It's playable, everything, but still there is some theory, yeah.
Okay.
But we are going to again very quickly deviate, and later, once you have more experience here, we can have another session. I will teach you that very aggressive, super aggressive setup for black, Stonewall, but mix of Stonewall and something else. Um, you will love it. But first, you need to get little bit experience in these Stonewall positions. So once I explain that one, it will be even better, even more clear and deeper. The same I did for chessmate. I didn't record it yet. I kept this what I showed you.
Got it.
So students get into this, feel the positions, and then when I show the alternative, it's be like, okay, it connected. So for now, just practice all of those, and then there is one more thing coming up.
Okay. All right. Sounds exciting. So I have some homework to do of getting some experience in these Dutch lines and the French lines, just the overall black
Yes,
repertoire, and then
yes,
hopefully I can keep
yeah.
expanding.
Below 2000 level, you will be fine.
Hmm.
There is F5 people are not familiar and they will just uh, bring the two pawns or London and usually you will mate.
Hmm.
So below 2000 you can like really chill. Like 2300, 24, 25, there things will be interesting. But
Okay.
you will do good. You are Eric Rosen. You should be fine.
Yeah, so like these days I'm playing a lot of different types of online tournaments through my like live streams. So some of the tournaments I play are the Lichess arenas where I'm playing players ranging from like amateur below 1800 to like decent master level players. And then of course there's Title Tuesday too. So I think my goal is to get like a variety of experience
Yeah,
in
like
Dutch and
that's
French
yeah,
with my
that's
games.
That's interesting idea, yeah, that Lichess tournaments when you have all different levels, so you really face
Exactly.
all of this. Because if you play now only Title Tuesday, 90% will be Stonewall. If you play below 2000, it will be only that Londos and C4.
It's
So
true.
that's a good idea. I love it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward. Like I feel re-energized because I've been keeping the same opening repertoire for the last many months of like only playing my London as white and only playing like Sicilian and Queen's Gambit declined as black. So it's nice to have like an additional weapon that I'm excited about.
Super. I'm excited for your excitement, and I'm here as always to answer your questions, push it forward, help you more.
Okay.
So, and I hope our viewers are as excited as you with trying this both the Dutch and the French that we have on the previous sessions,
I hope so
and
too. Yeah.
that like it's it's not that just nice words. It's easy, practical, and fun to play. All of you will see it once you start playing this.
Hmm. And I should note, like for myself, but also for the viewers watching this, is for people that want to learn more about the repertoires that you showed. The specific course on Chessmood is like the starter course.
Yes, yes. So there are two starter courses. It's called just one course overall. It's called Black Mood Openings.
Hmm.
You go there, Black Mood Openings, and there is covered both French and both the Dutch.
Okay. I'll put a nice graphic on stream to make sure people know where to find that, and probably link it below as well.
Yeah,
So,
super,
all right, sounds
super.
good.
Last thing we forgot. What if white plays some move like knight f3 or c4? Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah,
the
that's true.
quick thing. You just go with Stonewall.
Okay.
And usually, most of the cases, at some point, they are playing still d4, and you transfer to Stonewall.
Okay. We can just always
Always
start
say
with e6 too to stay
yes.
flexible.
Always start with with f5. Even when you start with knight f3, f5,
Hmm.
there is still this gambit.
Right.
So always e6. Always e6. So usually, in most cases, at some point, they'll play d4, and you transfer to Stonewall.
Got it.
This is
Okay. Simple enough.
uh, the last thing. If you want to practice these openings for black, it seems okay. For white, you will play your, and 50% of the time you will practice this, right? Want a surprise?
Sure.
I call this gray mood openings. So with white, we are playing e4, right? White mood openings. And for black, we are playing French and Dutch, black mood openings. For white, you can play gray mood openings, which is you play e3 first move.
Oh, and get ready to play like some reverse sort of Dutch, right?
Just reverse.
I see.
If e5, d4, you are playing your French one tempo up.
Okay.
If d5, you are playing f4, Dutch with one tempo up.
Wow.
Want to get practice into these positions. At the same time, with white, you can play e3 and just get experience too around here.
Interesting. That's actually a cool recommendation, just to get like more practice in the same structures. I might try this for like a whole title Tuesday, like play e3 and e6 every game.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
Yeah. By the way, when you play e3, usually people usually think it's just misclick. You wanted to play e4.
Right, right. Or you're
gonna
gonna play the cow opening, which yeah, it's just one of these troll openings, but
it seems I'm getting behind. Yeah, this is opening cow opening knight to knight g3.
yeah, it's not a serious line, but it's
Of
something
course.
that Anna Kramling helped popularize, and
Oh,
it became kind of viral for a few months,
got it.
maybe about a year
Anna,
ago.
I'm very
So
sorry. I like you very much, but I didn't know about cow. No bad words about cow. Sorry, I just didn't know about it.
yeah,
And
I don't think it's necessary to make a chess mood course of how to
yeah,
refute the
sure.
cow. So.
Sure, sure.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Avetik, for sharing all of this and taking your time
My
to.
pleasure. My pleasure, my
And
friend.
yeah, I'm looking forward to playing these openings.